Trains, buses and taxis will also be sanitized, and hand sanitizers will also be provided at key points. ENCA's Slindelo Masigane is at Park Station in Johannesburg. Slee, a very good morning to you. Have you spotted any of the canisters that carry the disinfectant, the element basically that you use your hands to sanitize with? Have you spotted any of that?
Not at all, Koli, not at all. We are at the Bree taxi rank, which is one of the busiest taxi ranks in and around Johannesburg. In fact, the taxi industry as a whole commutes around 16.5 million people on a day-to-day basis. If I can just move out of shot and ask my colleague Mokhomoti to just give you a view of what we're seeing right now. We're reaching almost peak period here at the Bree taxi rank. And of course, you would understand that in the mornings, this is when people are essentially gathering in large numbers in order to be able to get to their various destinations. Bree taxi rank in particular, a lot of people connect to their particular places of work or going home from this particular taxi rank. And I can tell you just from being here right now, it's not the most hygienic space to be in at the moment. And when people are lining up to get into the taxis, they're lining up at very close proximity. Even when they're sitting next to each other, it is quite close together. But I just want to bring in the spokesperson from the Department of Transport to clarify some of the measures that the minister was speaking about. We heard first about possibly testing everyone coming to the taxi rank, but then we're now understanding that we're looking at screening and also sanitizing taxis as well as buses and trains after every trip. How plausible is this? How will the department be able to monitor this?
Mostly good morning to you and good morning to the viewers. I think, as you can see, it's a hive of activity here at this taxi rank. There's absolutely no way that Minister Mbalula would be able to penetrate the hustle and bustle of taxi ranks without the support of the taxi associations, the mother bodies and Santaco at large. I'm pleased to tell you that Minister Mbalula sat with the president of Santaco yesterday and got immense support from them. All hands are on deck, and it's indeed all systems go. Some of the things that will be put in place, as you mentioned, are the screening devices at your hotspots. I mean, Bree taxi rank, as you said, one of those that commutes a large number of people to and from work. So this will be one of those areas that will definitely be on the radar of the Department of Transport. Minister Mbalula, a little bit later this week, will be practically demonstrating what it means to sanitize a taxi rank, to do what is called deep cleaning. Every single day, we understand that is what the taxi ranks will be able to do. We're working in partnership. As you know, the Department of Transport is a concurrent department, which means we rely heavily on the provinces as well. So national government, provincial government, and the taxi associations are holding hands and will be sharing resources, because there was a question asked, who's going to buy the sanitizers? Who's going to buy the soap and water? And so we're happy to say there's a good partnership that's in place. And as soon as today, in fact, we are going to start seeing out a rollout of those different measures to make sure that taxis are indeed safe.
Many would argue, taxi drivers don't necessarily always obey the rules of the road. How are you going to ensure that they are actually sanitizing and cleansing their taxis, their seats after every trip?
Well, I think this disaster comes at a time when Minister Mbalula has already been engaging extensively with the taxi associations. You'll know that a little bit later this year, in June or July, the minister was planning to have a national taxi indaba. Plans are well underway provincially, where they've started to have their stakeholder engagements that will culminate in that indaba. And some of the talks there are about the regularization of the industry, professionalization of the industry, and subsidization of the industry. And so having those discussions, we're already having an amicable relationship, a cordial relationship with the industry. And they're already saying we are willing to do that which national government wants us to do so we can meet each other halfway. So we're leveraging off of those talks to say, you want subsidies, you want us to recognize you, you need to meet us halfway. And we're happy to say that the associations have been more than willing to talk. I mean, for example, where we've seen taxi violence in the Western Cape, when the minister has brought even the warring sides together, they've been willing to concede. And so we believe that when we come to the associations now and say, we're in a time of crisis, we need extra hygiene, they'll be willing to meet us halfway.
Lastly, when can we start seeing this rollout? This week? I mean, we are in a national disaster.
100%. Time is of the essence. We're already starting to do your activations. We're already starting to do your awareness campaigns, educating the commuters and the taxi operators, the queue marshals on how to open and close doors and sanitize the doors. Something as simple as that. We started already. We're hot on the heels. Like I said, before the end of this week, Minister Mbalula will be showing us practically what it means to sanitize a taxi, to sanitize a taxi rank.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
All right, that's the latest from the Bree taxi rank. As you've heard from the ministry spokesperson, that later this week we will be seeing actual demonstrations on how taxi operators will be expected to practice good hygiene.